Welcome to EVE Online. I'm Major Freak. So, I've got a situation where I'd I'd been having little caches everywhere, so I didn't have to travel to get stuff. And it was fun to stock. The motivation was I wanted to stock my my upwells, because they're kind of barren, right? You're like, oh, there's no market, and it kind of feels kind of empty. I want to stock stuff in there that's kind of cool. I'll have some blackbirds and some harbingers and all that stuff. But it took me a week to move everything to NPC stations nearby. Like there's one of my upwells down there, and I moved it to nearby NPCs. When you actually face a serious threat of, oh my god, we won't be able to deal with the incoming damage of this massive corporation, right? So that will eventually happen. So I just started keeping all my caches at nearby stuff, and then I was like, wait, I've got a neutral hauler. Why am I having caches when I can have them all at a central location, right? And that way, when I upgrade my ships and have better ideas of how actually to fit stuff, that that it's cutting down the mistakes of mine, because I'm constantly upgrading these ships, and I'm constantly going around and swapping out modules and missiles and all that stuff. And I just thought, wait a minute, why am I making it difficult for myself? It's fun. I love theory crafting. Why am I adding more time when I can be on Singularity practicing and making sure the fits work and theory crafting strategy when I'm running around on Tranquility, penny parceling my time out? Time is precious. So I'm thinking, why don't I just grab all my freaking caches, drag them to a central spot where I've got all the gear so I can multi-fit. It's weird. Yeah. So yeah, all my stuff that I'm refitting my ships with, and I can easily just multi-fit for unfit things, like repackaged, and then I can, you know, I can just silly me. Yeah, because I'm like, why do I need what do you think? Yeah, 5 hours good enough. It's just going to be a fireball anyways, right? There you go. Perfect. But I don't think that's necessary, but it might, so I'm just going to leave it there. It's cap stable, ideally. With the right implants, this is about 300 million. This is something from Redeeming. There's the fit.
Docking permission requested.
There you go. Yeah, and what I want to do is go into Singularity and take an extractor and slowly take away the levels of all the things that help capacitor, and show you how close you can shave it to, training to level 4 for everything, right? And then getting away with, say, using a Tech 2 regenerator, recharger, or the Quaif from Redeeming, or, if it's a whole timer, of course we'll give out Quaif and overclockers. They're like 9 mil and each, right? 18 million, but they last for an hour if you've got your biology up, and you can get more speed. That would be cool. And of course, this will help with cap regeneration. And I've got some mind flood as well, which is about 9 million too. So that's 27 million, lasts about an hour, and it'll give you a boost. So that I'll be playing around on Singularity. I hate those. So annoying. They're the old style. Yeah, overclocker 3. This is 2, right? How much are these? Are they more expensive? They're 10 million. How much are these? 4 million. Let's get 21 of those. Cap charger. I think I've got enough medium celery. I'll leave this. This is for my bumpers, so leave that well alone. Bring that back. Yeah, and then I'd like to go on Singularity and have a slasher, a Drake Navy issue, and a Drekavac.
Warp drive active.
And practice, just show the Griffin in action, and how effective it is, how it can get away from the Thrasher, how you ideally use it in a situation, and how to use which one is it? It's the, I think it's the radio. I think it's the radio. It's the one where, I think it's transversal. That shows whether it's going away from or towards you, right?
Warp drive active.
Wait, what am I doing? Chill out. I'm not going there yet. We're going back here. Yeah, showing the capacitor stuff, showing the drugs, showing the different modules, trying to eat by, showing the skills, talking about the skills needed for capacitor, talking about other skills as well, showing the techniques of getting away from the slasher, showing the efficacy against, at 100 kilometers, against the DNI and the drag. Just basically try my best to encourage noobs to take part, because when I was a noob, or when I was inexperienced, I'm still semi-inexperienced in PvP, but when you're not really, when you've got your, okay, you've trained for the doctrine, great, but say somebody wants you to train or train something else, you're like, why should I do that? I need level 5s again, and God, blah, 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 and they're like wanting the most out of it, but what can I do now? So that's what I'm hoping to do, because it's encouraging when somebody goes, okay, well, level 4s, and here's the drugs that'll help you, and they're cheap, and we're going to be handing them out, and that'll encourage people to go, hey, I can do this, I won't cap out, I won't die instantly, and I will be semi-useful if I follow advice. And it's all basically button mashing skill, because when you're first in combat, you'll forget to launch your drones, And even if you do launch your drones, you'll forget to order them to attack because you have to do it manually in PvP in high and low sec, and you'll forget your hardeners, or you'll forget your prop mod, or you'll forget to even move at all, or you'll forget to fire, or all these things. It's just very overwhelming, and the people we're facing do this on a daily basis against people like us, so it's low risk for them, and as low risk as they can possibly make it.
Warp drive active.
It's amazing that they went and theory crafted something they don't usually fly to deal with us, but it just goes to show that they hated being defeated. We defeated them at a structure by allowing. They allowed our, but they couldn't help it. The structure repaired, and that is a defeat for them. That's embarrassing, and they hate that. So now they've got an axe to grind with us to show us who's best. But it's kind of ironic because we're just a small bunch of noobs and Care Bears, and we put these guys, this huge evil entity, nose out of joint using merely griffins. And that's a hilarious thing. And if we'd been successful in defending that one elsewhere, we were successful somewhere, and then it came back with DNIs and blew us to dust bunnies. But if we'd been successful, if I'd not screwed up, just practice transliterating something from singularity to tranquility didn't work exactly right. But if we had been successful, they would have been even more enraged, and they're embarrassed. They'll react to being embarrassed, but they'll do it in a ham-fisted way. But they'll try to minimize their risk. They'll see, okay, what can we use against this? Griffins will use Drake Navy issues and be able to hit them at 80 kilometers and get close to them and get slashers on them and web them down. And that worked for them, and they're happy, and they go, yay, more content, yay, and they kept the war, right? Because, yay, wow, you've finally given us content. But it's ironic because it betrays, since we look at if you look at the stats, right? If you look at the stats, if you look at their stats and you go to top all time, it'll show you the ship, right? And they have never flown in numbers for kills, right? Either the Drake or the Drake Navy issue. So they have not faced a force that they had to adapt like that. And that's kind of embarrassing, but not really surprising that most Care Bears will just go play WoW when they get war decked, right? And if they I've seen it, if they do defend, it's all kitchen sink and piecemeal, and they get defeated in detail, and they don't listen to advice, or they give you an arrogant reply and either die completely or come in with an overwhelming force and own the battlefield. They didn't need your help in the first place. But I stopped giving advice because people wouldn't reply, wouldn't listen, do their own thing, screw it up, screw their own thing up. And I just gave up because it just didn't seem to be helping. I wasn't building a consensus against these people of they're going to come back. If they war deck you and you've still got structures later, they'll come back. It's like a Rolodex. But nobody thought, all they thought was, this war ends in a week. Good. Move on and go back to care bearing. And it's like, but they're going to come back. You've got to, why aren't you preparing for the next time? Why aren't you going, hey, we should band together? No, none of that. It never happened. It's not even close to being happened. I knew it was hard. It would be an impossible task. And it was laughably impossible. But yeah, I mean, it's ironic, isn't it, that once in their freaking lifetime, they actually had to go, oh, somebody's using ECM properly against us. Isn't that embarrassing for the Care Bears, right? Like, so embarrassing to see that they never once had to adapt to that until now. It was like, the hell, and that was the shocker, you know. So yeah, we didn't see them coming because we were the first people to make them think, oh, we actually have to deal with proper ECM usage. Yeah, oh boy. So yeah, that's basically my task right now, just to go, okay, we've iterated, we've got a counter for their counter. It'll work. It'll work really well. Um, we just don't know if, because at some point, if you play up mentioned games with them, they'll see it as a pissing contest. They'll just bring in, well, for us, we know they're either Trigs for Days or Praxis Ball, and they'll show up with like 20 practices, and then it's like, you know, what are you going to do then, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, if push comes to shove, there's no way of us defeating them at all. But the point is to get some good practice, and here's a free opportunity. They're paying for the war. Um, Here's a free opportunity. You've always out the risk of losing your up walls at any time, but here's an opportunity, priceless opportunity, to put these skills into practice in real time against real enemies who want to gank you and are doing their best to minimize their risk to zero and get the most kills. So it's real life practice against people who love metas, and you go, oh, it's not like you're fighting a meta against meta. They're gonna be like, what cookie cutter was gonna we can use this to smash this, you know, ugh, smash hammer. So to them, we're a nail, you know, and they just need a bigger hammer, bonk, bonk, you know. So yeah, it'll be interesting if they actually feel DNIs again, or they go back to trigs for days, or they show up with practices, whatever. But yeah, I'm hoping to be able to put both the blackbirds and or the counter to them. Um, yeah, into effect. It'll be interesting.